Should be live.
Hey, hey.
Guys. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Wicked Mystic Sisters.
We did it again. I think we have a new name.
Saturday, on a special Saturday, 8/24/24, because I had to work last night and have a little bit of interesting things to say and talk about that occurred during the DNC, which I know we're going to pull cards on.
Yes.
Welcome, Eliza. I saw your post, and all I see is an acronym right now that tastes kind of weird. Honestly, I've seen so many acronyms floating in front of me because I worked 3 shifts this week. So I am still getting acclimated to a very large facility, and I have to do this. There's nobody that I work with right now that knows I do this, but I have to say that this healthcare team staff over this DNC freaking nailed it. They rocked. Okay. So know that behind the scenes, everybody was taken care of, very well care of, and people stayed over and came in, and thank you.
So Chicago was working on all cylinders, is what you said.
Absolutely. I gotta say, if I had taken any, I didn't really get much video because I thought, well, I'll, maybe walking to work or walking home from work. I probably slipped in more vomit than I ever have in my nursing career. And it would have all been like limousines and liquor trucks. So I'm a little further north and where everything was closed off, and the security was really high. But my kid worked at the governor's after party, which was really fun and really interesting, and very like pageantry, and a lot of delegates that were very, very drunk and wrapping the bar line like around the place, and other people sort of like, but even within we've got to appreciate that even within your own party, sometimes you don't want to hear somebody talk. La 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 la. Some of that from delegates, and very tight security, that if they stepped out of the boundary where they were supposed to be working, say to grab a smoke, something like stupid like that, there were like lasers, and there was staff and security within security. So it was a really awesome experience. John Legend was there and played. JB flipped the bill on this one. They paid their staff double. Wow. They gave them shirts, appropriate attire to have on for that event, and then they tipped them very generously. Like, this got my kid excited about voting, and who has voted already when we had the mayor's election. But just said, yeah, I can't wait to vote, because we just got in a really, really interesting conversation about everything that's happening and going on. So today, since I was getting ready to come on, I thought, and I get like a shirt to wear, and I'm going through my drawers, and I found my Wonder Woman t-shirts, and I thought, this is the one that needs to be worn today, even though it looks like a drowning bird when I see it.
Every now and again, you have to jump up so people realize it's there. No, you don't have to.
It keeps like sinking a little bit because it's such an amazing energy.
Right, really. This thing was just
talk about
really off the hook. I mean,
What have you experienced in your neighborhood since things have shifted? How do you like just see people kind of lighten up?
You know what? I have, we live on Main Street, but it's pretty, it's not like Main Street where people walk on Main Street. So I don't get a lot of like interaction with people on the street. But I do take notice of the energy as it comes down the road, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the energy has been so much softer.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there were times through this whole period, especially after January 6th, the intervening years, where I could feel it was almost like like an ill wind. There were times when I felt like I couldn't put out. We have a pride flag that says peace on it. We got
Yeah.
it in P Town, and for a long time I felt like it was dangerous to put that out.
Yeah.
But that all changed. That like that, and I'm in a blue state, so, but I am also in a, it's a blue state, but there's quite a bit of farmland around me,
Mm-hmm.
and those people tend to be red,
Yeah.
and they have the trucks with the flags, but I haven't seen the truck with the flag now.
Yeah.
For about a month. Usually they would come down at least like down Main Street like twice a month, or every other week. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't. Well, actually, I never see it. I always hear it because you can hear the flapping. That's how I know it's. That's how I know.
Wow.
It's down the road. Yeah.
I am in the bluest part of the bluest city in the bluest state right now.
Well, I don't know. Massachusetts is pretty blue, but
It's crazy.
I just happen to be like in a more rural area, so it's not quite. If I was in the city, it would be. If I was in Boston, forget it.
Yeah, yeah. It's been really exhilarating. It's been really thrilling. There's been like the Daily Show filmed in my neighborhood. One of my colleagues went to see Stephen Colbert and was just thrilled with, how pleasant and, everybody was just in you could just see that in her, just that she's talking about it, being a part of this, and even just to go to Stephen Colbert, who was supposed to go to the Wiener Circle. So I'm still waiting for that. I don't know if he went. And then, like a lot of liquor. So
honestly, is that unusual for Chicago?
I have never walked to and from work in any place I've ever worked before.
Right.
I always had to get in a car, and the closest work place I think was 3 miles from where I lived. I think it's like that all the time. Yeah. This morning on my way home, because, I'm walking, and across the street, there was a guy laying by a storefront, and somebody's trying to wash the windows, and he's trying to wake him up, and he's not waking up. And I turned around and I looked across the street, and I waved to the guy like, "Do you need me?" And I turned around and I went home, and I'm like, this is going to be a regular thing. This is not unlike what it was like in San Francisco when I lived in San Francisco in the 90s. Because of the temperature, the weather, people can sleep outside. They pass out outside. I've shown you pictures of stuff in the neighborhood. You see the tents, the homeless shelters, or the tents. There actually is a shelter that is not far from here, women's shelter. So it's, I don't know if I have to absorb this first. It's a lot. It's a lot.
But what would you say the energy of Chicago was this week? I know you were working more hours than you normally work, so I know.
Yes. I do feel like, because I was on one, sort of response team of this that
Right.
there is news that did not get aired. That was hidden. It didn't get a lot of airtime kind of stuff. I know, and I'd love to pull cards on this. There was one morning that the delegates found maggots in their breakfast.
Oh,
See, you didn't know this. And it was on the news. So I'm not stating anything that, against any HIPAA violation or anything like that. That was on the news. There were somebody at some point in that chain that served food at the Drake hotel. I don't know how they got them and how it got in there. People saw stuff crawling in their food. Nobody got sick. There wasn't an alert, no like buses of people vomiting, nothing.
now there was a huge police presence. I was listening to Heather Cox Richardson, who incidentally was born in Chicago, but lives in Maine, and I think works in Boston. I think she works for BC or BU. I'm not sure. And she said she was talking about how she actually gave the history of Chicago and all the beautiful architecture and everything that but she said there was so many police. She said, and they were all like just hanging around. They were all very helpful. She said, they were saying, do you need to, where do you need to go? So there was a lot of, I think that they were a bit terrified of 68 happening again. And I honestly think if Joe Biden had been the nominee, then there would have been more of that they need. But I think once Kamala sort of took the reins, or were given the reins, I should say,
Yeah.
That it changed it. It shifted.
It did. Definitely, I think if Biden had been still running, still on the ticket, and this is a city that I think the second population is Palestinian citizens, that would have gone south.
Yeah.
We've got this awesome window of time where we can, wait until Kamala is elected. I don't know why I'm even stumbling on that. Wait until Kamala is elected and then see how this goes. There's things in motion and ceasefires. There was so many protests for Palestinians that they had like their own campus. They were protected. There was a lot of police. They were better protected than our own police. You do not want to hurt a protester.
Right.
There's no reason for it. If you do, that's not good. That's not good. They were very well protected. They breached a little fence, but like all came together. But it went well. Come here.
Did you have an opportunity to listen to any of the speeches?
I did. I listened. I started crying. I had a colonoscopy on Monday.
Oh, that's right.
That's why my arm is still bruised. I had a colonoscopy on Monday, and I really tried to avoid this anesthesia. I don't want to scare anybody because it's something that it's a light anesthesia that they give for a lot of procedures, colonoscopies, but it's propofol. I didn't want to do that, and they convinced me. And as it's wearing off, I was very emotional. Like I cried the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, welcome to my world. That's all I do is I
it was unbelievable. I'm like, well, this has got to be, and I looked it up. I'm like, this has got to be like your brain is flooded with dopamine and serotonin, and then it's cut off.
I don't know what makes you emotional, but all I know is that's me.
I don't know, but I think I'm married to the bus driver who took me home. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. It was just that kind of day. So it was probably a lot of getting ready for this, preparing for this, and then it's the DNC's happening. There's people coming into town. There's helicopters.
Yes, yeah. And you're getting all the information
No,
from the hospital of if there's a major event, this is what you have
yeah,
to do,
yeah,
because you guys have to be ready for that. And that I think, you know, most people don't have to read that, even though, they don't have to read like the
yes,
possibilities of the disasters that could befall a big
yes.
city like Chicago in a situation like this. And you're like, oh boy, all right. All right. So you really had like a whole different, like what a different perspective from your kid's perspective, right? I
Yes.
mean, I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm getting double the pay. This is so much fun.
A vow of silence suddenly is no problem.
Right, right. And you're like waiting for the, you're waiting at the door, waiting for the disaster to happen. Just a whole different thing. But from my perspective here on the East Coast, uh, what a hop in town and what a hop in DNC, I have to say. I the only I haven't listened to Joe's speech yet, and I've only listened to part of Michelle's speech, but
Yeah.
boy, that was a great speech. Obama's, I liked Michelle's better than I liked Barack's. I
Yeah.
love Jasmine Crockett had me in tears.
Yeah.
AOC had me standing up and cheering.
Yeah.
It is such yeah, did you hear what Nancy Pelosi said to Jake Tapper about, he said there still seems to be some bad blood between you and Joe. Did you hear what she said to him?
No.
She said, well, sometimes you have to take a punch to help the children. She's such a hard ass man.
She was here.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't even I
She's
imagine.
she's like that. She's like that auntie that people have that has absolutely no filter and is just used to being in charge of everything. And so like just like, pull out the samurai sword, Nancy. She cut you. When you think about it, she was really one of the few people I think that had Trump's. A lot of people had his number, but she had his head. She
Yeah.
was in his head, just like Kamala is now in Trump's head, and it's already like his head just wants to be filled with him. So when these women come in, it really like sends him for a loop, I think.
Somebody said mealworms or maggot at the Fairmont. I'm sorry, I thought it was the Drake on Wednesday. Gross. Yes, it was gross. And where the freak did they come from?
I hate having to repopulate my gut. All those good bugs lost, says Paula.
What the heck was that? That's so crazy. And then there was a shooting the last night at a grill, and I can't remember the name of it. I know somebody's going to look it up and let me know. Where there were some delegates, somebody who was there was leaving, got shot at the door, like exactly how you don't want somebody to witness.
Right, right, right.
Happens. That happens.
Well, it's a lot of people. It's a city that happens anyway. It just happens to be happening when there are people, delegates.
Some diner and grill, and I think it would be in the west or southwest loop area. So that was very, very unfortunate. Other than that, it's kind of a little more cohesive, I think, around here. Um, People seem like they've taken it down a little bit, it's not as heightened, and we're not as worried. We all were prepared for exactly what we witnessed in terms of, helicopters and limousines and stuff like that. It was a good thing. It was a good thing, and it was a good thing that I was at work. It really was.
Wow. Somebody said, wow, I have my sister take me there and back from that procedure. Yeah, I mean, but bus drivers are used to all kinds of things. They're probably
Yeah.
better suited.
Yeah, no, they don't let you go unless you have somebody to take you home.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's going to walk me home? Who's going to come here in the middle of the first day of the DNC for 10 minutes to walk me home? I say, we got to come up with another option here.
I would have come to walk you home.
I'm not, my kid had to work. It was too much. There was too much going on. So, they did like the Medicare people.
So I didn't listen to, Wendy says Elizabeth Warren, and Paula also said that she had a great speech. I haven't listened to hers yet. I'm going to listen to all of them that I think are interesting. I wanted to listen to Kinzinger's speech, but I haven't listened to his yet either. I have to. My husband is like anti-politics, so I have to. I'm like somebody who's on Weight Watchers that has to sneak the cake in the middle of the night so nobody knows that they're cheating.
Yeah, this is like cocaine. It really is. Like people are just charging for it. It seems like, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Joy. We all needed a real good dose of joy and happiness and exuberance and hope that we can do this, and we can. It's a lot of to me it seems like a lot of this, like, oh, but it's such a close race. Yeah, we know it's a close race, and we know the electoral college sucks. And if we didn't have the electoral college, it wouldn't be a close race. Right. So, but I just like, if you feel the energy, I mean, just don't listen to anything and just feel the energy. The Republicans are like,
it's really a spiral. It's almost sad. I know, isn't
they're
it?
powering down. They're out of it. They are out of it. The only way they can even get close is if they cheat, and they're going to cheat. So what do? You have to figure out how to avoid the cheating from being so much cheating that they actually pull it off. But they've been cheating. Honestly. They stole Carter's, right? That the shenanigans with when Carter was running, the shenanigans when Gore was running, the shenanigans, all of it, even
dads. Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, it was just, they've been cheating for 40 years now. And but they're sort of out of there. And it's interesting, all the Republicans that sort of moved over into the big tent of the Democrats.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens once all of this after Kamala wins.
Yeah.
And they go through all the legal wranglings that they're trying to cheat. And then as she sort of moves through what she's going to have to deal with. But I really have a sense. I was looking at her chart again today. I'm preparing for a class, one of my astrology classes. We're doing the asteroids, and I was looking at Pallas Athena, which is the goddess of social justice. She's the goddess of government. She's the goddess of wisdom and strategy. And Kamala has her Pallas in Sag. So she's a
what degree?
14 degrees. 14 degrees. And so she's a Pallas in Sag is about the truth and the power of unification. And it's just her chart is just so well.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was saying to Michael, I was like, I said, we need to put something out on the lawn. I want to put get a palette and then paint a giant lotus flower on it, because her name means lotus. And we could put a lotus flower, and we can put a rainbow, and we could put a heart. And
I have been drinking lotus tea and wearing lotus perfume since the winter time, because and actually smoking it too. Anything I can smoke, honestly. It is just to help me relax and calm down and go to sleep, kind of thing. Right? I'm like anything, and I love it. And I
And
think that,
even, even her energy is like that. Like she's there, she's so poised, she's so, it's like nothing seems to fluster her. Well,
yeah,
at least not yet. I mean, I'm sure that when she's president, there'll be plenty of things to fluster her. But she has this way of bringing like this energy of like, let's all just take it down a little. Let's take it down. Let's
yeah,
let's look at, let's like it feels like I love Joe, so I don't have a problem with Joe at all. But
yeah,
he's like fisticuffs, like let's go in the back and we're gonna fight it out. And Kamala's like, all right, let's calm down, everybody, and we're
yeah,
gonna go by the rules.
yeah, yeah.
We're gonna go by the,
Exactly,
and she's a
exactly.
Libra. I was thinking
I
about this.
know.
Libra is about the rules. The rule of law is Libra, and she's the living, breathing, uh sort of vibration of the rule of law, but it has to be fair, and it has to be fair for everybody.
Yeah,
See, our law system isn't fair because it's not fair for everybody, but it doesn't mean it's not a good system. You know what I'm saying?
it's gonna be good, and I think we always sort of tease this idea, this energy in the back of our heads, like, you know, if something happened, Joe's kind of old, even in the beginning, and when he chose her, like I've said this in card readings, Kamala's our next president,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then like there's like everything sort of blows up and distracts you, and now it's actually in motion, and it's really very close. I can't believe this is kind of it. August is kind of over.
Yes. Yeah. We have one more week. We
Yeah,
have one more week, but this week was just, I mean, the whole, like the last month has just been insane.
yeah,
It's, because we're used to being, we had all the disruption that Trump brought in, but for the most part, America doesn't change that quickly.
yeah.
Nothing changes that quickly because we're sort of, in a way, we're locked into this, one side and the other. But that all got blown out of the water. And the United States is in a 1 year this year as a like personal vibration for the
It's a
country.
start over, man. It's a start over. Wendy said, "Can you read on how Jill Biden feels about Joe passing the hat on to Kamala? How does Jill feel? Probably relieved. Right now, I can exhale only."
Did you say Joe or
Immediately,
Jill? Oh, Jill, yeah, Jill.
Joe. Honestly, that's the only thing I feel like doing is exhaling, like relief. Phew, that was tough.
Oops.
What a trooper. How does she feel? I don't know what she is.
She's a Gemini.
She's a Gemini.
Yep.
I got Queen of Wands to represent her. And honestly, the Four of Pentacles just flew out. First card. So kind of like, is he sort of being shoved in a corner? Like if we tried to locate him, would he be on the roof or something? That kind of thing. I think she feels he's been sort of a little on the back burner. What do you get? Tell me.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm gonna pick 5 cards.
Wonder Woman.
I feel like she's I think she is relieved, but I think, she's upset the way it happened. It's not the first time the press has been harsh on Joe. I think she feels like, yeah, I've been here before. But I also feel her saying he's the effing president still, so
Yeah.
don't count him out. Like that's my feeling. I mean, I don't really get a sense that I think she's not wanting to feel anything until his term is over. I
Yeah.
think
I think we're not honoring him enough.
that there's still work to be done. So she's not giving herself the luxury of feeling anything about it. I think it's gonna, because when you think about the attack on her family, the attack on her son, I mean, Hunter was a son to her. She came into his life when he was like 3. So it's
Yeah.
like anybody's child, like to see that, but also know what's important to her husband, and then watching what's happening with her husband. She's not quite ready to process it, but
Mhm.
all I get is he's the effing president. That's like
Yeah.
that was what I heard. He's the fucking president, guys.
Yeah. I think and I have the 7 of Pentacles.
I
So
got the seven of yes, I got the 7 of Pentacles too. Yeah.
the 9 of Cups or 10 of Cups, right? Lovers, Queen of Cups. So I think it is about what he has gathered, what he has done is not being recognized enough.
Well, it's not going to be, because they're not, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can understand, like, we only have 90 days or less than 90 days. So where all the focus has to be is getting Kamala over the line, the finish line. I think that's.
Oh, she will, you guys.
Oh yeah, I don't think, yeah, I saw her winning. I saw a woman winning.
There was a
And
woman.
I actually thought it would be Kamala against Nikki Haley, or Nikki Haley was a woman that could have won, but of course, the Republicans, Trump would never allow that to happen. But like months and months and months ago, I think the end of last year, that's what I saw, a woman.
I want to know who put the maggots in the breakfast food.
In the food. You sure it wasn't just like, how cereal can get that way?
They would never serve that at the Fairmont.
Okay.
Never. This is what's weird to me. This is what's so strange, because my kid was in food service, and they're layers, before somebody gets a Chicago style hot dog, or, it's gotta be from somebody that's so close to the food.
Isn't like the Fairmont one of the fanciest hotels too?
It's the fancy old ones. All those hotels were built in like the 1880s. It's all this history that's just insane over there. Like wouldn't think of even entertain the idea of trying to live around there. There's no way. Who put the maggots in the food?
Well, whoever did it no longer works there. And not because they found out. It wasn't because they found out. It was somebody who did it and then screwed. I'm out of here. So if they want to know, they have to look at who quit, who didn't come back to work.
Yeah, it is somebody it's the 5 of Swords.
Yeah.
So, yeah, somebody that, where did they harvest them from?
It's summer.
I got 8 of Cups. Yeah, they left. They're gone.
I could harvest them. Well, not now, but like in July, I could have just went to my garbage and harvested them.
Yes.
I mean, there's maggots everywhere. It's summertime, right? It's not that hard to, leave a few pieces of food out or meat. You can get them.
They really try and clean it up and, control the rat population and all that. Honestly, not that much. We don't see like death and decay staying in the street, like the dead rats. Like they scoop them up. There are people that are constantly sweeping up. I got on the bottom interference. So this card in the past has told me a couple things. They were not stable.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I got the 9 of Swords. So that's that can be mental illness.
Yeah.
That was right in the middle. And then I got the 6 of Swords. They did it and left. They went over the water. So
they got in the freaking boat.
Maybe somebody from another state went over the water or something.
They got in the boat. and left.
And
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So for those people looking, there's your clues.
I know. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I wrote that question down because I'm
A
really,
disgruntled worker. Yeah, I think you're right, Wendy.
honestly, so much has gone on that I'm like, I got to narrow down to something that I could start tuning into that because there's so much vomit in the street, and it's not even just that like people are puking in the street all over the place. It's like 90 degrees outside.
Yeah. I know.
It's
I
pretty
know.
ripe.
I lived in the city for years. We'd go into New York City. There were times when things didn't smell that good, especially in the summer. One of the reasons why I moved out of the area I grew up in was because it smelled bad. And
Yeah.
I have a very sensitive nose. I like Michael will say,
Yep.
"Is this good?" And all I have to do is smell it, and I
Yep.
know. I'm like, "Nope, throw that out. Nope."
Yep.
He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Throw it out. Taste it. Go ahead if you want. Throw it out." I've always had a good nose.
Those are the times when I have to like, I will be in the grocery store and I'm like, I got to get out of here. It's too much.
Yeah.
But
Well, you have synesthesia, so you're not only smelling what's actually there, you're smelling what's in people's heads. You're smelling the astrological
I'm
aspects
like,
that are happening, what's
oh,
going on in other countries. It's still right
Vicky,
under your nose.
can I tell you that I went up to I was the medical ICU, and I got off the elevator and I opened the doors and I said, somebody's got a UTI. And they looked at me and they go, we just sent off. I said, yep, it's positive. Yep, it'll be positive.
You're like one of those dogs that can smell cancer, right? Like, have you seen those dogs?
Yes,
Yeah,
they're cool dogs. All the dogs are cool.
yeah.
Phyllis has been really good. Every dog we've met in the neighborhood's been really awesome. I'm just thrilled with the way people have been kind of taking care of each other. And, even somebody reaches out like in a Facebook thing and says, I'm kind of worried about traffic. I just moved here, whatever.
Yeah.
People help out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the other things I loved about this whole talk about your neighbors and pitching in and that's really the energy we need because with climate change, that's who you're going to be depending on. You're going to be depending on your neighbors to help you.
I think things changed. I think, that we used to, the way I grew up, it was like that. You like neighbors were,
Yes.
kids all were around the same age. We all knew each other. We sat out on the porch. We,
We couldn't get away with anything. We didn't have one or two parents. We had like 50 parents.
Yeah.
Like there was like this so I guess the Underground Railroad is not really appropriate to say, but like an underground system of like I saw Joey on the corner with Frank. I thought he wasn't supposed to hang out with Frank. Then he gets in trouble. It was like there was no privacy. There was no privacy when I grew up.
I think even before COVID, we had just a swing of, and it was probably related to like the political temperature that people started to kind of like divide, not really, sort of be on their own. They were their own circus. They worked from home. It wasn't like neighborly anymore where I lived just last year. I'm like, this is not the kind of milieu I would want my kid to grow up in or be around. And it's not for me anymore. I kind of moved past this thing. So now I hope it gets back to that because we really do need each other. We really do. I mean, even where I live now, my God, if it wasn't for like our neighbors helping each other just do stupid things like throwing the newspaper on the floor or, in front of their door instead of yours, then it's not, we have to start doing that again because we're all going to be like these little micro communities, I think.
Well, that's certainly happening. You have your group, you have the people that you hang out with, And the algorithm keeps you in the group. You don't really get exposed
Yeah.
to. One of the things that I've been trying to do is like listen to other forms of like, in other words, I watch Pod Save America, right? Those are the Obama guys. But I started to watch the Bulwark because, and I know I'm saying that wrong, because they're like Republicans. They're never Trumpers, so they're not MAGA. They're Republicans, and I'll listen to them, and then then I'll say, "Oh, these guys are making a lot of sense." And then all of a sudden, they say something that I totally don't agree with, and I'm like, "Oh, that's right. These I don't agree with these guys, but I still
Yeah.
listen." And I
Yeah.
think we have to find the space in between, and I think Kamala Harris is perfect for that because she has that Merkaba energy. She has that six
Yeah.
pointed star energy. It's about bringing people together. It's
Hmm.
about balancing. It's pretty.
You
I
kind
think.
of don't have a choice. You know, I don't think you have. It's like an awakening. It's gonna happen, and it's painful.
Well, I think
It's so
Trump was the.
painful.
I think Trump was the awakening.
Yeah.
I think Obama was our greatest hope that we could have something wonderful, and then we had Trump who sort of exposed in the way that he did just how deep the divide is and what's the basis of that divide. And now we can work from that place. And it's like if you don't know the boil is down in the depths, it has to come out. It has to get lanced. All this the stinky stuff has to
Yeah.
happen. And we've been in the stink for quite a long time now. And
Yeah.
it's like finally it's like a breath of fresh air.
It
I
really is.
I read this thing today. Comey said, he said, I feel like it's morning in America again.
Yeah.
And he goes, and he said something about Kamala and Walz. He says, and I'm voting for them.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to say, well, that's great. And then I said, F you, Jacob. You started this. It's all your fault, Jimmy.
Right.
Of
Right. You
course
let
it
this
wasn't.
happen.
It wasn't his fault. I mean, it was, he was always a little bit of a banana, but like,
I think it was. We're gonna a series of really messed up events. Honestly,
well, yeah.
What
What is that? A
happened?
series of unfortunate incidents or something like that? There's
The
like a book.
mini snippets, yeah, and a series of unfortunate events.
Yes. Yeah. 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 But I don't know. I I
Oh my
haven't.
God.
I haven't had. I'm still waiting for the plane to
Is it
take.
all? Wendy wants to know: is it all related to the age of Aquarius? Yes, Pluto or Capricorn. Pluto and
Well,
Capricorn.
certainly.
Like,
Yeah. Certainly. And the first day of the event, we had the square between Pluto and not Pluto. Jupiter and Saturn, which
and it
is
was
first
full moon
quarter
day.
crisis. Yes, crisis in action, right? Building foundations for a new whatever was planted at the seed of that conjunction, which happened at the end of 2020, which happened in the first degree of Aquarius, where Pluto sits now. So this got seeded back. Like as soon as he lost as soon as Trump lost 2020, we had already decided. We were already in a way here, and we already were winning. Like the Democrats were winning at that point. All of this other stuff was to sort of like weed out the like the what's the word I'm looking for? The hangers on.
Yeah,
It's interesting how we're being shown people who like hang on to their either opinion or their whatever it is. They're hanging on, they're not going to let go. And they're the people, it's like the Hopi prophecy. They're the people who are going to get destroyed. You just have to go with the flow now. You have
yeah,
to push yourself out into the middle of the river and say, look, wherever this river goes, I'm going with it.
yeah.
I'm going to
You've
enjoy
been given
myself.
plenty,
I'm going
right?
to I'm going to see where my tribe is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to see what canoe I prefer to be in, that kind of thing. So
We've been given so many tests and exercises on how we're going to handle it. If you don't get it now, it's going to be hard.
yeah, and the kids understand it. See, the kids are already there.
They're
They're
already.
already there. We're a little slower on the uptake, you know.
I think there's this piece of our generation that needed to neutralize a lot of these concepts that we were so, this is how things were supposed to be, and then we were to neutralize that because no, that's not the way things were supposed to be. We don't tell you what you're supposed to be or what you're going to do with your life. I'll help you figure it out. But those kinds of things don't happen anymore. Now we're in a neutral space, and the next one is just, yes, kind of.
Well, the interesting thing about that I want to mention is that Barack Obama was the first president that had Pluto in Virgo. And when Kamala wins, she'll be the second president that had Pluto in Virgo. And Pluto in Virgo rolls up their sleeves and gets the job done. That's it. It's just the nature, right? We're willing to do the work.
Yep.
As I was saying, I was having a conversation. I was having a conversation with the client, and she brought up the idea of boredom, and I couldn't and I was trying to she's like, then I get bored, and then I have boredom, and then I'm like, what does that feel like? Like what? Yeah. I couldn't, I couldn't even visualize, Now I've been in classrooms where teachers are super boring, but you have to sit, like that I get, but it's I guess maybe, you're more bored in youth because you're not in charge. But once you take possession of where your direction, what your passion or your goal or is. I was also having a conversation with a friend of mine who she goes, my life, it's just I have to say, she's going through a hard time right now.
Mm-hmm.
She's got issues with her mom who was in the hospital. Now she's trying to take care of her, and her husband's got dementia. So I know, not her husband, her mother's husband. I know what that all feels like, and you know what that feels like too. And then she's having trouble with her kids, and she's just she's like, why does it all suck? And I was like, well, what do you want your life to look like?
I think it's a Saturn return time. It's gonna suck. It's one of those tests. It's one of those tests that sucks the money and the life out of you.
Well, I think
you're gonna turn around and come back and say, oh wow, that was a challenging time, but look at how things turned around. Honestly.
Right. Well, I think I think the point that I was trying to bring forth for my friend was, what's your vision? What's your vision? As difficult as it was, especially in the last years of my mother's life and COVID and having Trump as president, and there were just so many things all coming down at once. It was like it was like Groundhog Day. You're like, oh, what is it now, right? But through that period, there was still that that I still had a vision, although sometimes I had to really squint and get the flashlight out to find it. I think it's important to have a vision, and I think that's what even this whole DNC.
Yeah,
we had a vision of the possibilities, and a if somebody tells you everything is crappy, that's what you're going to see. But if people are telling you no, everything is, opportunity.
yeah.
It's
well, that's how things become reality, right? It's first a thought, and then or a vision, and then
it's an imagining.
It starts to manifest itself.
It starts with imagination.
Yeah.
And you get into the logic of it, and then you get into the practical application and what you have to do. And one of my teachers would always say, just connect. Even if you're doing something you really don't want to be doing, if you can connect it to your higher purpose, I'm going to regrout the bathtub because I want to someday, have a B&B, and nobody's going to want to take a bath in this bathtub, right? So I'm going to do that, and you connect it with something, even if it's way in the future.
Yeah.
It allows to not let the things that really bug you get in the way of the flow of things coming to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's hard because there's a lot of darts get thrown in your way all the time, right?
And you're a Capricorn.
Oh my God, Capricorn, you got the Pluto in
Saturn.
Virgo.
Saturn rules.
This Virgo season, when it started just a couple days ago, it just started. The sun into Virgo.
The sun went into Virgo the 22nd, I think.
I work more this week than I will probably the next month. I mean, I did like a lot of work this week, and it just was like, yep, it's Virgo season.
Yeah.
It's Virgo season. I got all my leather stuff ready to like start to brainstorm, and
I love Virgo season. This is like one of my favorite times of the year, the fall, because I always feel like it's a new beginning for me.
Yeah,
in a way, and I always want to learn something new or have some sort of.
I always feel sad. I've always had a sad connection to fall because I know what's coming. Pulling my tomato plants out when I used to have a house and a backyard, that was like the saddest day. It was like November too, because I left them until they had snow on them. And it was just like, this is sad because now it's winter, and winter's just icy and sucky and stuff. So I've had I love the weather. I love when it's nice out, but it's like winter's coming.
Yeah. Well, you do live in Chicago. Chicago has some pretty tough winters, I'll have to say.
Yeah. Lately, the last few have not been bad. So you're sort of bracing yourself for like the next one. Like if that wasn't that bad and the other three weren't that bad, it's got to hit at some point. But it's always been this, just the trend is getting warmer and warmer. So it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah. I look forward to, because we had a couple of cold nights, like 50. It's pretty cold. If you're used to like 90. and I was like getting chilled, and I said to my, I can't wait till we have fires again in the fireplace. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I like this. I don't like it's been a great summer. There's been this just heck a few days that now you don't even remember it was so hot. And it's just to the last couple of days have been really hot, and I think it's going to continue, but we've just been super lucky. And Giblets has been doing great, walking a lot further than I thought he could. Because it's just windy enough. There's enough air. It's cooler.
There's enough air going through his nose.
Big trees, all shaded, like side streets and stuff like that. So it's well protected for his, compromised state.
Paula says boredom is a way of avoiding truth.
Could be.
So I looked up boredom, right? And it said the state of being bored. I hate when they do that. I'm like, that doesn't help me. What kind of definition is that? But bored, to be bored is to be unenthused.
Yes, I was going to say the opposite of excited.
And you know what enthused means? It means full of God. And so you really have to like call in your higher angels here when that happens.
Yeah.
And let them, allow yourself the enthusiasm, allow yourself to have God, goddess, soul that is come into your heart.
Yeah. And always ask. I was just thinking, I always ask for a sign, right? And you don't know what it's going to be, but you know what it is when it happens.
Yes. Yeah. If you ask for it, you'll get it. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
If you really want to know, just ask. Just ask. And we forget sometimes to ask. So Gina says, have you all asked if the inauguration will take place in January? Let's ask that question.
Oh, that in and of itself. You know what I think might interfere with that? Because I can. Oh man, and I probably should go get some penis too. I don't know, and I don't. I mean, this is just something that fleeted through. But if there's like maybe Jimmy Carter there might be a funeral, there might be something like that. But interference, like
I think it's in the Constitution that it's supposed to happen on that day. But it originally wasn't that day. It was originally, I think, in March. Was it March? And then they changed it. Or it was originally in Pisces and then they made it into Aquarius. I think that might have happened in Lincoln, at Lincoln's time or something like that. So I picked 3 cards. Interesting, the first card I got was the Fool, which is usually about something new, something different, something that hasn't been done before. So it is possible. And then I got the Ace of Pentacles. And then I got the World. So it is possible that it's not going to be on the 20th. But I don't know why that would be. Like these cards aren't telling me why.
I've got 2 of Wands.
Okay.
I'm just going to pick the top 3. The Tower. There's a disruption. Oh my God, did you hear that outside? That beeping?
Yeah, what was that?
A truck. Probably a freaking semi-truck.
That's what it sounded like.
There's
stuck under the bridge.
I gotta say one thing. Is this a Uranian card? Because the Fool is.
The Fool is Uranus, yeah. Yeah.
Uranus also, yes.
There might be some disruption.
So I would follow that chain and see if, like, Uranus is actively involved that day. The Lovers. So there's some disruption, but they do somehow pull it off. Look at Doug and Kamala. Yes. I'm going to stay right there. Okay. Do not burst my bubble. I've only slept for 2 hours. Yes, I believe it will. I don't want to have doubt. I would rather be surprised than be doubtful for 6 months. And there's some tweaky little disruption. The Fool, the Tower card, where Uranus might be involved in checking that out. So
yeah, I almost feel like I don't feel like it's necessarily bad in that, like it's not going to happen.
Rain delays.
It's going to happen in a different way. Maybe it's just a different day.
It might be, don't they do it outside? It might be snowing. There might be something like that where they have a plan B.
Big storm.
There's a disruption and then it kind of comes together.
Why don't we ask if we have to be concerned about another like January 6th incident?
Who asked that question?
Why don't we ask that question?
Do we need to be concerned? I have got to get to Alchemy Arts this week, you guys, and I will take you there. And I'm going to turn the camera around at some point, and you can see that people are definitely celebrating the weekend before Labor. Is Labor Day next weekend? Is that next weekend?
Is it next? Yeah, next week. This coming week is the last week. At the end of the week is the 31st, and I think then is it the 2nd maybe or the 3rd Labor Day?
I know the schools start on Monday, and that's always the last week in August. And I actually forgot the question.
Is there another January 6th thing happening? And I get the Ace of Swords, which is justice, the 4 of Pentacles, which is like protection, and the 4 of Swords. So no, that's not going to happen. There's none of that. That's what I got.
Do you feel like there's some
Go ahead.
interception there?
An interception.
There's going to be. There's always some stupid knucklehead, okay, putting maggots in food or something like stupid.
Yeah, but that's just, that probably had more to do with, as I think Wendy said, a disgruntled employee just trying to get back at the boss. Like at the most of it, like if you were the head of the Fairmont Hotel and it was the DNC and you have all these rich people who, right, and then they get maggots in their food, that's not a political statement. That's a like, F you, you didn't give me my overtime.
Yeah.
That's what that is. I feel like they have a real tight grip on this. I don't think there's going to be violence. The Queen, there she is.
This is my Nancy Pelosi card. This is the card that fell out when I was like, is it going to be Joe or Donnie? Because honestly, I can't listen to my coworker anymore. It was the Queen of Wands. So she might have something to say. I'm like, it's not going to be either Joe or Don. Huh. Queen of Wands, who's she? Because I knew
it's actually it's Kamala and it's also Nancy. And I mean, the best speeches that I could tell. What is that?
7 of Cups is the challenge. So they're delusional. I mean, I would like to stop there and say like they might attempt something or think of something, but it's just.
I would say my call on another January 6th kind of incident. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Security is a different thing. It's completely different now. It changed everything, right? And the Fool.
Let's see. Is the election going to go? Is the election going to be decided by the Supreme Court? Ultimately decided by the Supreme Court.
I'm going to use a different deck.
Oops, something just flipped up.
That's it.
What's that?
The one that flipped over.
The Three of Swords. Heartbreak. Oh, the Two of Swords. I get the High Priestess, the Two of Swords, and Justice. Which in this deck is somebody getting stung by a bee.
Ooh. What was the question?
Is the Supreme Court going to ultimately have to make a decision? Now, I don't think it's a decision. I don't think it's deciding who's president. I think they're going to bring something up and they're going to take it to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court's going to say, absolutely not. This is whatever they say. Even it's going to be so obvious that it's not what the MAGA people say that I think they're going to, and that may be the.
So they're going to try to like sue it or sue the electorate.
Well, they're already suing. Trump is suing. Isn't he suing the DNC for switching the candidates?
I got King of Swords.
King of Swords. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there may be some delay in. It might be later than it normally is because it has to go through the Supreme Court. Maybe something.
The challenge is abandoned success. So somebody is a sore loser.
You think?
I think somebody's a sore loser.
That was the first card I ever got on Trump. Was that card?
He's a sore loser. Is there going to be close to a full moon? Because you know what? Yeah, his face is in the picture of the moon. I wish you can see it. There's a picture of somebody's face in the moon, and it looks like him. I'm going to color that orange. And then 5 of Cups, so a real sore loser.
Yeah, that's the loser, right? That's the card that the psychic got on Fox News. Remember that they always do this.
Yeah.
On Petty Boots, they go loser.
Yes. I'm actually going to be on there tomorrow night. Becca invited me to Petty Boots tomorrow night, so that's gonna be a hoot. God, I can't wait. It's going to be so funny. Yes, and it is related to a sore loser, that there might be some preliminary disruption or some preliminary action that has, challenged this. It's already in the works to be challenged.
Justice will prevail.
Oh
Justice will
my
prevail.
God.
So even if it's delayed, it doesn't matter. Justice will prevail. Real justice, not none of this
You guys, I
BS.
gotta say, if I could say anything, that divorcing a narcissist, it is the most difficult job. It is the most difficult thing to do. Okay. It's going to be painful. He's going to do some stupid stuff, but we need to divorce him anyway.
Jamie Johnson says that she figured out years ago that her boredom was actually procrastination.
You know what? Sometimes I think that's right, Jamie. Sometimes it's you use a word and then you realize later you're like, this is more of my habenula overacting and telling me, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, it's not going to turn out okay anyway. And you throw, and the posture brings the word boredom out. And I think it's just the opposite of, you just haven't found something fun to do, or you're afraid to tell people what you want to do, like make candy or something that is completely unrelated to your area of study, that, that starts out as a hobby. What's a hobby? That's something you're enthusiastic about.
So somebody said, I think it might have been Wendy, that we have to get the house back so we can get rid of Alito and
oh God, right.
So I pulled some cards on that idea, and I was thinking of I just pulled cards on what's his name? Clarence. I just pulled cards on Clarence. Why don't you pull cards on Alito and see what you get for Alito? I said, my question in my head was, show me Clarence's 2025. So these are the cards I got. First card, Empress, right? Is this Kamala? It kind of looks like her. Could be Kamala, or it could be his wife, right? And then we get the High Priestess, which is secrets revealed. Around the Seven of Pentacles, we don't have all the information on the money. The Seven of Swords, people trying to get away with stuff that's going to come out, and then the Eight of Cups, walking away. So he's definitely out in 2025. And I think it's going to have to do with his wife, of course, and all that.
Hi, Cindy. Do these exercises and the way we explain things bring some peace of mind, even more peace of mind than knowing Kamala is your next president? I hope it does. I hope it does, because all of it is about manifesting the reality, right? I pulled the Shakespeare deck, and I'm going to pull one card for Alito. It's a big card deck.
Uh-oh. Picking one for Alito.
Almost like a bibliomancy literature kind of thing. So let's see. I can't see. He's connected to somebody else. I really gotta
Are you smelling something, Ona?
Let's just keep track of that. Yeah. Like Mars, that kind of energy, like a stroke.
Well, he is an Aries.
What?
Alito is an Aries.
Let Rome in timber melt, and the wide arch of the ranged empire fall. Here is my space. 9 of Wands.
So that's interesting.
I think he'd rather see his empire fall, than leave.
Yeah.
Look at his bare butt. And he actually has extra muscles. This is not an anatomically correct muscle drawing. This is extra muscles.
So he's an extra big ass, is what you're saying.
Extra political muscles.
Oh, extra political muscles. So you meant just a bigger ass than usual.
Oh, no, not just a bigger ass. Yeah, and this is the bottom of the deck.
Yes, I'm with you. Opus Dei, yep. But what is that? The Magician?
King of Staffs. King of Wands.
King of Wands. Well, that's him. He's an Aries.
He got a snake wrapped around his staff. He's got some dirty secrets in there.
Yeah, he's from Jersey. Of course he
Cards
does.
are just, I could use a magnifying glass. They're so amazing. There's a lot in them. And I think just one card will tell you a big story. So I think he would go out fighting, and he'd rather see everybody else get ruined before he gets ruined, or his reputation.
Like I don't think he has a reputation anymore.
He'll throw you under the bus.
Well, I mean, wasn't this all about seeing where people were really at? I mean, haven't we gotten an eyeful? Any illusions about anybody have been dashed, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really cool, really exciting time. And I just feel like it's an honor to get out there and be able to help people realize how powerful they are.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And,
and learn about how all our cultures are kind of melting together, and the astrology, the tarot, how it's connected to like the everyday thing. Last night, my colleague dropped her drink on the table, and I hear, "Oh no." I said, "Yeah, the moon's in Taurus. Get ready for that." Sure as shit, somebody fell. When mom was having a baby, dad fell, boom, smacked his head. So they had to call a code. He ended up getting admitted. I said, "Didn't I just say that was going to happen?" She goes, "Yeah, you did." I said, "Okay."
Did he slip in the slime, or was it, or did he just pass out from the idea that that's what a woman's body has to go through when she has a baby?
Truth be told, he had an alcohol withdrawal seizure.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So he did get admitted. He did hit his head, and mom had the baby. So it was kind of a rough launch.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But everybody was taken care of.
Yeah.
They're all okay.
Boy, I tell you, getting born on planet Earth is quite a trip, isn't it? You never know where you're going to land, do you?
You don't. I think like some things are just so surreal. Like when I walk home and I'm slipping and vomit again. I'm like, somebody had fun overnight. So it's a hugely exciting time to be part of this.
Be a street cleaner.
Can we just get a power washer for the neighborhood? It's got to be like the sidewalks. I don't walk in the street. The streets are cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we all walk our dogs, and it's 90 degrees. So everything is like really ripe, and Giblets is pulling me in all directions because that's
dogs, the stinkier, the better. So they don't seem to mind. But
And there will be fireworks tonight. I hope at Navy Pier. It's been hazy, so I hope to maybe get a little bit of that. It's just you know, I don't want to say gloating, but almost kind of feeling that way, that it's
we did a great job here in Chicago.
no, just to be on the side of the political fence that makes the most sense.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That to be able to share that with people, that like, you know, this is the direction we're going in. Like, this is not, don't be surprised about this, right? And to be able to share that openly, you can't always do that.
Right. You know, I think that party really, I think there are times when, you know, there were a time when the Republicans were the party to be in, because, you know, they were the abolitionist party, and now they're the Democrats were the KKK party. Now it's different. So it's not so much the party, it's what are you standing for? What do you, you know, my favorite like stuff that came out of the you know, just mottos would be we're not going back. We're not going back. And what was the other one that I loved? Oh, when we fight, we win.
Yeah.
Like that one.
Yeah. Did you see Pink sing? She's at, I think she's at Soldier Field tonight. She's down there. That song. And of course it was Monday or whatever day I was crying like the whole day. I'm like, I listened to a couple words. I'm like, look at that beautiful, you know, it was that kind of experience initially. And then it just got more exciting. And I think it got to show that there is civility in the, you know, out there. We're not used to it because we're sort of, you know, tapped into the Trump's uncivil things that are happening, but there is civility. People do love each other. They do want things to be better. They do want to buy a house, right? They do want to know that they can get a little credit if they sacrifice their own careers so their kids can go to school. And it's heading that way. I also want to see a big change in healthcare. People should not have to be farmed out, and like all these things, it should be more cohesive. It should be affordable. You cannot rely on just the emergency room to be your doctor.
Well, I think single payer would.
Oh wait, there's a tarot lesbian. Oh my gosh, look at you. Okay, I'll get rid of her.
Yeah, I can't get rid of her, otherwise I would have. Or him. Probably a him. There you go.
Oh, how funny. Thank you, Jamie. I saw the initial one. I'm like, just let that slide. And then I started to get in my head. Thank you so much. Those kinds of things are going to happen too. Right?
I guess we're more popular than we thought.
And really, I'm a tarot lesbian. Can you get...
It's definitely a guy. It was not. I'll tell you, it was a guy. It was definitely a guy. One of those basement dwellers, probably.
I have a couple of times, confess to just looking on YouTube channels of people that support Trump, and I just cannot believe the comments. And I will say, "Are you new?" And then, you know, there might be a thing. So, come on.
Oh, don't even. We're not even talking to that person. That person's down, out and down. Go on to the next. Go on to the next thing. Go on to the next thing. We're not worried about
Pink's
that.
daughter. Yeah, Pink's daughter was just amazing. That was so amazing. It's so cool to see, like, everybody get honored. And oh my gosh. And she sings really, like, she's got an amazing voice too.
Yeah, I thought the best speeches were done by women. Michelle, Jazzy J, AOC, Kamala, Great speeches. Great speeches.
Yeah. So you just have to take a deep breath, hold it for 4, exhale for 8, and then keep moving. And just keep moving. Oh, come on. I'm a Tyrrell lesbian.
Get rid of her. Him. Get rid of him.
How did they get back on?
I don't know. You have to like X them off, I think.
I do. I ban the user from everything. And I'm sure it, you know what? It's so sophomoric to like do something like that. But I think that's going to be generated more because people, this is painful. It's painful for some of these people. It's painful to have realize like you're looking at your future. This is not going to be that thing, that mold that they made you fit yourself into. You've got to open your eyes and realize that we're just like a big pot of minestrone soup right now.
What does Ronald Reagan think about the mess he's put this country in? Well, you know, he was a good actor, I guess. He was just playing a part, you know.
That was the tipping point, right?
Thanks to an astrologer, he survived his what do you call? But I'll ask what he's thinking. Now, what are you doing? How's it going, Ronnie? How do you think things are?
There's a flashing light at Montrose Harbor there.
Oh, Ronald Reagan. I have never asked Ronald Reagan anything, so this is a first for me. He's sad. He's sad. He's actually. I think he's a little burdened by what it became. I think he's burdened by what it became. I like to think that these people get on the other side and they get a bigger, broader perspective. You know, I think he played a part. I didn't like him at all. What'd you get?
The moon, La Luna. Look at him looking down.
Is that Reagan in the moon?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the moon. It's the Salvador Dali deck.
Yeah.
Look
at
the
I get the
capital right there in his head.
The 3 of Pentacles, which can be, you know, dark money, but then I got the Fool. Ronald Reagan was an Aquarius, so that's interesting. Then I get the 10 of Wands, feeling burdened. The 5 of Cups, being sad, and but holding a position. There's still something he thinks that he was right about, whatever that means. It'll be the first and last time I talk to Ronald Reagan, unless he haunts me in my dreams tonight. I'll let you guys know.
You know, he might, because you see that portrait up there. This is what the 8 of Pentacles. I think he wants to be also in the same sort of light. What is shining anyway? And honored for his legacy, right? And there he is. He's probably got one of those portraits that follows you when you walk by. You're like, Ron? You know,
he's been haunting me for years.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Tyrrell.
All right. Well, we've been on for almost an hour and a half. We're gonna wrap it up soon, but we're not gonna get chased off. That is not happening, guys. Do you want to say anything else? I think anybody else have a quick question that we may trickle down?
You're going to please give me a wrench. Oh, honestly, you know what? I don't know how to do that. I am going to set up so that, yes, Patricia,
yes. Oh, I think that's why you have to have a cop on the beat.
Yes,
we have a cop on the beat.
That's actually, the interruption's okay. It's like a little bit, somebody like threw a little bit of porn in your in your movie. I would ask Wendy, I would ask Patricia, and I would thank you both. Absolutely. I will give you a wrench as soon as I Google it and figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll figure it out. We're still, oh, there's that bot again. All right.
I know.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll see you guys. Join us on Petty Boots tomorrow on House
Yes.
of Norman. I will be on there, and it is always a good, fun time.
There should be plenty of chuckles. Plenty of chuckles on that.
All righty, folks. Thank you. Love you.
Bye, everyone.
And we'll see you next week.
Okay. On my channel.
Friday or Saturday.
Whatever you want to do. Want to keep it on Saturday?
I have a house party on Friday. We'll talk.
Right.
It'll be one of those.
Okay.
Bye.